It's day 3 of 10 days thinking about Katherine Parr, and today we're talking about her marriages. So from the time Katherine is around 11 years old, so kind of 1523-ish, her mother Maud is looking around for marriages. Now this can take some time. She's obviously not expecting her to get married at 11 and to consummate it or anything like that, but she needs to start looking. Now, because she doesn't have a huge amount to offer, they've got a decent dowry set aside from their dad in his will, but it's not anything crazy. So she's not expecting to find a marriage in court circles, which is so ironic when you think who she ultimately ends up marrying. But so she's not setting her sights, super high on the social scale to start with. To start with, she tries to arrange a match with Henry Scrope, who is the heir of Lord Scrope of Bolton. But this doesn't really get anywhere. Partly a lack of enthusiasm from the dad, Lord Scrope. Oh, such a horrible name. Imagine being Lady Scrope. But also there was this real back and forth about money. Bearing in mind she's 11, they probably wouldn't get married till she was about 16. He wanted her to kind of put all the money down the table now, and she's a little bit like, but what if one of them dies? Am I going to get this money back? So it's very sort of business heads on here, and they just can't come to any sort of agreement. So that one's off the table. Thank goodness. So a little while passes, and then in 1529, when she's 16, 17, depending on which book you're reading, she eventually marries Edward Burgh. Hopefully saying that right. Now, he's the son of the 3rd Baron of Gainsborough in Lincolnshire. So I have to look at my notes a lot today. So she eventually marries him in 1529. Now, we don't know a huge amount about this marriage beside the fact that she was 16, 17, he was 21. But it seems that the father-in-law, 3rd Baron, was a bit of a bully and not very nice, and kind of ruled the family in a bit of an insane manner. So chances are it wasn't a hugely happy marriage. They did sort of live with sort of on the estates of the father. Eventually, Maud managed to convince the father, bully Baron, to let them live elsewhere. So they moved somewhere else, and then possibly things were a bit happier. No children came of this marriage, and he died in 1533. So they were married for around 4 years. So when this husband dies in 1533, remember her mother Maud died in 1531. Her siblings are kind of off with established families, and it's not really apparently appropriate for her to go and live with them. So she's kind of left as a young, relatively poor widow. So ends up staying with sort of more extended family in Cumbria in the north of England. So pretty decent way away from court. But then in 1534, she marries her second husband, John Neville, who's the 3rd Baron of Latimer. So she is now Lady Latimer. And they have Snape Castle in Yorkshire. Sounds creepy. So Latimer has already been married twice before and has 2 children. Now here we see a bit of complication with the pilgrimage of grace. So not the first time this has caused trouble for the wives, has it? If you think back to Jane Seymour, she was kind of really appealing to Henry through the pilgrimage of grace and got told in no uncertain terms to stop talking or... Problem for Katherine Parr here is the rebels kind of storm Snape Castle, and they take Latimer off and kind of force him to be one of their mob. So in the king's eyes, Katherine Parr's husband is now a traitor. Now, in January 1537, Katherine and these 2 children of Latimer's actually get taken hostage by the rebels. Latimer eventually manages to secure their release, and he only narrowly avoids prosecution for treason himself because of his involvement in the rebels, whether he wanted to or not. And actually, it's the Parr side of the family, Catherine's side of the family, closeness to court, which manages to help him get off. So after the Pilgrimage of Grace, Katherine ends up actually spending a lot more time in the south. so she's closer to her siblings. They've both got prominent positions at court, so she can be around court a lot more, and she doesn't really want anything to do with the North now. Latimer then dies, excuse the dog, 1543. Some historians have then suggested that she joined Lady Mary's household, but it's very much disputed. So I'll see you tomorrow when we're going to think about those years at court before she ends up with Henry. See you then.